Hey guys, welcome back here to Intuitive Angling, and appreciate you guys swinging by the channel for today's video. And guys, today we're going to be talking about why I am not impressed by any type of forward-facing sonar caught mega bag. All these 30-pound plus bags does not impress me whatsoever. And I sort of want to make the case for that, sort of try to get into why I have an opinion like this. It's not just me, it's a lot of different people. A lot of people have the same opinion. But I want to break this down and sort of like let you know why it's a thing, why these big mega bags that we've seen the last couple of years are they're just illegitimate in my opinion when it comes to tournament fishing. So we're going to get into that in today's episode here. Also guys, two quick things just like to remind you of. We do have my spring Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns up on the fishthemoment.com website. Guys, these are great resources to learn more about your favorite lake, get some good fishing places. You get 40 GPS waypoints with the maps here that you can download straight to your GPS unit, and tips and advice on how to fish each spot. You can duplicate it around the lake on your own after you get those spots to sort of see what the patterns are. So I'll have the Fish the Moment, my lake map breakdown link in the description of the video. And also guys, the sale is just about running out on my Blaukat black with blue tinsel throwback jig here. This is a color that's not available at Tackle Warehouse. You have to get it through the Cumberland Pro Lures website on a limited run. So I'll put the Cumberland Pro Lures website if you guys would like to take advantage of my black and blue tinsel living rubber jig before the special goes out. We usually run it about every 2 or 3 months. So I've been going now for a couple weeks. We're just about through all of them. So anyway, link in the description for all that. Really appreciate it. Okay, I want to do this video in light of the last 2 or 3 years. You've noticed this. We've seen an explosion in these big 30-pound mega bags and the new records for 3-day total tournament weight, all this stuff through forward-facing sonar. And I want to explain to you guys why I am not impressed with this, number one. I don't think they're legitimate catches, number two. And sort of like, talk about this, I want to get your guys' opinion on it as well. First of all, before we get into this, so all the sensitive types don't get butthurt over this, I am not criticizing the young anglers that have had success with forward-facing sonar. We've been through this 100 times. I'm not dogging them. This has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with the tournament organizations have forced this technology upon the younger anglers. So let me repeat that for the thick-skulled ones out there. I'm not saying anything bad about guys that have, if you're a 20-year-old flat brimmer and you've set records and won with forward-facing sonar, good for you. I'm not saying a bad word about it. I am saying that those same anglers, if the tournament organizations would have done the right things and banned forward-facing sonar 5 years ago, we wouldn't have this discussion. We wouldn't have this discussion about, illegitimate 30-pound mega bags. So let's clarify that right off the bat. This is the fault of the tournament organizations, not the anglers using it. Okay, given that, let me explain why I feel, like this. I'm gonna draw two different analogies before I get into this to sort of reference this and give you guys a frame of reference. Prior to forward-facing sonar, guys, you did not see these mega bags like we have now on a regular basis. There were if we hit everything perfect, like the time that Dean Rojas, caught the 45-pound bag, the record down at Lake Toho, that was a perfect storm. It's like everything lined up perfect for that to take place. That has happened occasionally through over the decades, but we have seen an explosion of these 30-pound plus bags from coast to coast, Florida, California, Texas, everywhere. These big giant bags taken with forward-facing sonar. Okay, now here's what I want to equate this to. If I've used this analogy before, but it's perfect, so I got to reiterate this. Prior to, in bowling, I used to bowl a lot of leagues, and the leagues that I bowled in what was called a Monday Nights Men's League in Joplin, Missouri, and it was one of like a high average league. This was like one of the top leagues in the town for high average bowlers. And in the 5 years, guys, that I bowled on this, which was some of the best bowlers in the area, there was 0 300 games in 5 years out of the whole league. There were 0 800 series during the whole league. And, you know, if you had, there was like one or two of us that had a average right around 200 out of the whole league. You know, I think myself and two or three other guys out of 100 and some dudes bowling had a 200 average for the 5 years. Now, if you fast forward 2026 with the increase and the invention of bowling ball technology, different type of weighting systems in bowling balls, different type of finishes they have on the lane, the allowing this two-handed bowling technique to take over to increase the revolutions on your bowling ball. 300 games and 800 series are a dime a dozen. Literally, they are a dime a dozen. They happen every single night on most leagues across the country, which has diminished the accomplishment of what it was like when you had more, traditional type bowling ball materials and lane conditions back in the late 70s and early 80s. This is the same that what we're seeing with this whole Megabag situation in bass fishing. We did not have these Megabags, like I said, except for once every 2 or 3 years, one would pop up. Now, basically, almost every tournament that they go to in a lake that has big fish, you're going to see these Megabags caught with the use of forward-facing sonar. And the reason why I want to get into this, why this is bad for the sport and why I don't consider it legitimate and why I'm not impressed with it, it all goes back to the foundational element of fair chase in bass fishing. Fair chase is a concept in fishing and hunting that is like sacred to true sportsmen. And that's one of the reasons why, we've talked about this before, that like the Boone and Crockett scoring and hunting, they don't consider, animals taken with the use of certain technologies to be legitimate records simply because they classify it that it was not fair chase. When you go out and you catch a Megabag with forward-facing sonar, that is not fair chase. That's exactly the same. There's no difference whatsoever because all these dudes that are roaming around out in the middle of the lake now, in the middle of the creek, the middle of the lake, and they got their freaking head glued to the screen, and they're catching these Megabags, or they're seeing the fish, on the forward-facing sonar, and they're following the fish for a half mile down the bank or whatever, or these guys that are seeing fish on their forward-facing sonar around laydowns and cypress trees, and they're bypassing every tree that they don't see a fish on their forward-facing sonar. That is not legitimate fishing. That's not fishing, what it is. And it undermines the tradition and the heritage and everything that's great about the sport. And that's why I am not impressed. If I see somebody says, oh, such and such weighed in a 37-pound Megabag, the first thing I say, well, did he use forward-facing sonar or not? And they say, well, yeah, he caught him on the middle with forward-facing sonar. So what? I could care less. That doesn't impress me whatsoever. If you go to a lake, I'll tell you what impresses me. If somebody goes to a lake or some dude leading the tournament has a 35 or 40-pound Megabag with forward-facing sonar, and then there's some dude that caught 13 or 14 pounds that's down in the middle of the pack that caught him traditional bass fishing with just two-dimensional sonar, I am more impressed with the guy that caught the 13 or 14 pounds with the traditional techniques than I am the Megabag, forward-facing sonar catches. That's just the way I believe, and that's the way a lot of people believe. And ultimately, guys, one of the reasons that professional fishing does not have the respect it deserves is stuff like this. It's a prime example. Let me give you another example how technology was slapped down by a professional sport. If you guys ever watch professional golf, I've golfed I was on the varsity high school golf team for 4 years. I golfed a lot when I was younger, and I followed golf pretty close. And I've had a chance to, golf with a lot of professionals. I've played golf with Payne Stewart. I played golf with Blaine McAllister and Fuzzy Zeller and a lot of different pros throughout the years. So I've seen these guys firsthand. And one of the things that happened several years ago is there was this development of what was called a hip putter. And if you don't know what a hip putter is a putter that it's a super tall putter that almost comes up to your chest, and it allows you to brace the putter against your body and stabilize the putter, and it made putting a lot easier, super effective. And I think they allowed the hip putter to be used on the PGA Tour for a year or two, and then they banned the hip putter because it made it too easy. The PGA felt that it took away from the tradition and the heritage and the skill aspect of fishing. It gave the pros an unfair advantage, and they banned it, rightfully so. And it's the same with this whole thing with forward-facing sonar. When you are seeing these 35 and 40-pound megabags that are caught with a forward-facing sonar minnow out in the middle of the lake, none of those fish would have been caught without that technology. There's nothing about that technology that equates to having skill and the art form of what bass fishing should be. And everybody that says, "Oh, Randy, it's not as easy as you see. It's not as easy as what you say. Just because you can see them doesn't mean you can make them bite." These guys are smart. They're geniuses. They've honed this art form of forward-facing sonar. That's not an art form. That's like saying my 8-year-old son Elijah, when he gets on Oculus or his PS5 video game and he navigates through there 100 miles an hour, that's impressive. Yeah, it's impressive that they can use a video game, but it has nothing to do with the reality and the art form and the tradition and the heritage of bass fishing. There's no connection to it. So, guys, one of the things that we got to do with this, most of you guys that watch my channel are on board with this. It's like I'm preaching to the choir, I know, but never ever normalize this. It's like one of the things that the pro forward-facing sonar minority that are out there tries to do is they try to normalize this and to shut people up and silence people up about it. If somebody has an opposition against it, they say, "Okay, quit your bitching and whining. We know what you feel about it." That's not good enough. You have got to keep their neck to the ground and keep on this, because as soon as you normalize it, then it just goes on and on and on and expands with no guardrails. And the only way that we're going to counter this, and the only way that we're going to return bass fishing to the art form of what bass fishing truly should be, is by getting rid of this technology and having an asterisk next to any type of win or success what somebody has with forward-facing sonar. There should be an asterisk put next to anybody that wins the tournament's name using forward-facing sonar, that this event was won with the aid of electronic technology, forward-facing sonar. There should be an asterisk on that if they don't want to do the right thing. So, I don't know, guys. It's like this whole thing is hanging on longer than what I thought it was. We've seen all the, sort of like the limitations they put on it. Like, that tournament I fished at Lake of the Ozarks this past week, and they had a 3-hour limit on the cheater box. And of course, everybody that I talked to that did good, they caught them during that 3-hour period. I got 4 or 5 of my buddies up there that I talked to, they caught all their fish in 3 hours when they had the cheater box on. They didn't catch crap when they turned it off. That's the reality of the situation. So again, Megabags do not impress me taken with forward-facing sonar. That's the first thing that I ask. Like I said, what does impress me is somebody that, fishes to find their fish. They fish to find the fish. They develop and they unravel and they put the pattern together from time on the water. They figure out the nuances of what it takes to catch fish, bait profile, bait color, casting retrieve, casting angle, speed to retrieve, how to approach a specific target at a specific angle, all the true mastery that is required at upper end bass fishing. And there is no mastery. I don't care what anyone says. When you're dependent upon a piece of electronic technology fully for your success, there is nothing honorable about that. There's nothing that should be honored about that. It is what it is. Own it, stand up to it. It's like these fish were caught with the aid of forward-facing sonar that would not have been caught otherwise. That's what needs to be talked about all the time with it. So never normalize it, guys. Don't feel bad about trying to get rid of this, because you are on the right side of the history. All these dudes out there that, try to, make you feel bad, make you feel like a dinosaur, and make you feel like, some grandpa yelling at the clouds because you don't like forward-facing sonar, don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about, because it doesn't have anything to do with age. I've talked to a bunch, guys, of 20-year-old anglers that message me all the time. They say, "Randy, hey, I just want you to know I'm 20 years old. I'm on board with you about forward-facing. I don't think it's right. It's like I've got to compete against these guys using it. I don't like it." It doesn't have anything to do with age. It has everything to do with doing the right thing and keeping the integrity and honesty and tradition and heritage and art form of bass fishing intact. And right now we're losing that, guys. Every time that we see a Megabag caught with forward-facing sonar, it takes something away from the sport. It diminishes the accomplishments of people that have done it without that technology. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think about it. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll talk later.